We've got a couple big storms coming to the United States and the Midwest throughout this week with severe storms. I think all hazards possible. Let's get in. Now, before we get into the severe storms, right now, for July 28th through August 1st, so I believe that is Monday through Friday or Saturday, we are expecting above normal temperatures throughout here until you get to more northeastern Wisconsin, but far northeastern. And with precipitation outlooks, those are looking more normal throughout Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, but then Iowa, you do have that slightly above normal chance for rain. Now here is the end of the week. Right now, the estimates for rainfall, and I can see why they're giving more normal amounts of rainfall, because throughout Illinois, Wisconsin, you see that there's like this area of just like maybe an inch of rain or so. And then you get into more this little area of Iowa where you've got more this little area, and Chicago in this area has less. So that being said, there's a little less. That now, I was mentioning severe storms, which if we go into the Cape, we need about 1,500 joules per kilogram. This is, as always, the mean layer, which is the average. I don't know why it did that. Just shifted. There we go. So it seems Sunday, it's a little hard to tell because this is the GFS model. I will show the NAMNEST and HRRR models. Those are better for terms of this, like less than 60 to 48 hours. And then we go into Monday, it kind of lingers, but then we get this big jump, which is about, throughout this area, about 4,500 plus joules per kilogram, with the most unstable being almost pretty much 6,000 in this little area. The supercell composite is a little low. This is 7 p.m. for Monday. It says 00Z Tuesday. That's just how it works in weather. We go universal coordinated time, which is 5 hours behind central time. I do think more up in Wisconsin to maybe Cook County, Panhandle, and northern Illinois. That seems like there could be a small threat for a tornado. The numbers are, the more north you go, the numbers get higher. The mid-level lapse rates aren't super high, neither are low-level, so I think some hail is possible. That's not going to be the main threat. Lid strength, which is like capping, it's 0 to 1. Pretty much nothing, so it's very supportive for severe weather. The 0 to 3 kilometer storm relative helicity is a little too low for a tornado, which is why I don't think it's going to be tornado. I think it's going to be wind. But the energy helicity index is there for some storm development. And looking at the radar, though, the simulated radar, there's nothing. But this model, it's a little more difficult for it to project storms forming because of that severe weather, which is why I think it's possible that we get little blips of rain coming up. It's just a little too far out. It's 66 hours. I would show NAMNEST, but it only goes to 60. So that's why it's not as easy to project. But then with average cloud cover, it's going to be sunny most of the day. That contributes a bit to the instability, as well as the fact that it's going to be in the 90s throughout most of the area, into the upper 90s in Iowa. And dew points are very tropical at 81, so that's what happens for severe weather. We've got the ingredients, storms just need to kind of pop up. And then, on July 29th, actually Tuesday we might go live. That's possible, but July 29th, which I'm going to show now, I can say we will not go live. That's a definite. We're not going live for that. I am busy. So looking at that, not as high of energy, but definitely high. With the supercell numbers being really good, more going into the Cook County Panhandle, but up north especially. And that SRH is there now. It kind of glitched out. But that's strong enough for some tornadoes with the energy elicity. So I think more down in Chicago, you're going to see winds. But in southern Wisconsin, you could see more wind and tornado, with some hail being possible. And this is the Colorado State University severe weather map. They are projecting for the 28th. It ends at 7 a.m. on the 29th. They're projecting more in the areas that I highlighted, a wind threat. Same like I said. And then here is for the 29th. We've got at max a 30% probability more near Davenport, with between a 15 and 29% probability. Throughout the area I talked about, we don't get like tornado numbers and stuff until day 3 from CSU. The Storm Prediction Center is not highlighting those severe weather risks as of right now on the 28th. They're not highlighting it in the areas that I mentioned. I'm going to use red pen, but I think they might do an extension like this, possibly. It just depends on what we're talking about. And then the 29th, they have not issued anything for then. This is a sounding for that severe weather that I mentioned on the 29th. It does say 00 UTC again on the 30th. That is again 7 p.m. Now I centered this over Jefferson County, Wisconsin, because that's more in the center of what we're going to see. It does have some right curvature, and then it kind of gets a little sloppy. So that definitely does highlight some potential for supercells. If you see here, that supercell number, 8.6, is extremely high. 1.6 sin-based significant tornado parameter is okay, but then the fixed one is a little high. That does bring some concern. The numbers here, I already showed most of this. It's concerning. And then I'm going to erase up here because it's kind of blocking out. That SIG severe number right here, that typically 10,000 is concerning. 10,000 is concerning. 20,000 gets more concerning. We are at 54,257. However, and it does highlight this potential for tornado, the shear just kind of isn't there in this model, and neither is the SRH is okay on 0 to 3. So I think we might need just a little more information before we definitively say what the threat is. I'll post a short about that. And then the sin-based STP up here does say, hey, look, there's a greater than 50% chance of an EF1. So it does seem, this of course is not a convective allowing model, so it does have its weakness. To end this video, I'm just going to show some surface maps. This is for the 29th. I am more concerned with the 29th as of right now. We can see that there's this little low pressure system, well, not little, right there. That's the main driving factor. There's this cold front. There's a cold front and then a little bit of a warm front. Now, in order to know what that's going to do, we have to move over to day 4. If it loads. Which does say that the cold front's actually going to move down and to the west. So I think that won't have as much of a concern as of right now, or an effect as of right now for that severe weather. I hope you consider subscribing, because we might go live on, right now it looks like Monday. I'm not available Tuesday, so that's a definite no. Please consider sharing this video so you can send out, not necessarily alerts, but just let family, friends you know what the weather might be. Please consider subscribing, and again, thank you so much for watching.